So we got a bunch of cases released from the Supreme Court with their decisions. But we're missing one. They have yet to rule on the immunity case for Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump's assertion is that presidents have absolute immunity for anything they do while in the office of president, and to acknowledge otherwise would be to somehow limit their ability to do their job. His attorneys even made the argument in front of the Supreme Court that they could order the military to take out a political rival, and unless they are impeached by the Senate, or impeached by the House and removed in the impeachment hearing in the Senate, it is perfectly legal. They cannot be held criminally liable or anything like that. That anything would be considered an official act. Now, I don't expect the Supreme Court to grant Donald Trump immunity. I think that's a stretch, as we've talked about in previous videos. If Donald Trump gets immunity, Joe Biden has immunity, and Joe Biden could order the military to remove 5 or 6 justices from the Supreme Court, appoint their replacements, and as long as he's not removed by the Senate, there's nothing that could be done to stop him. That doesn't make any sense. Granting presidents complete immunity is, not a thing that's gonna happen. Now, what could happen, and we've talked about this before in different videos I've done, is that the Supreme Court could issue some sort of a test to determine whether or not acts are official presidential acts or whether they are private acts of a private citizen, like somebody seeking re-election. So if they do that, one of the things that could happen before the election is that they could hold a hearing in D.C., and Jack Smith could lay out the evidence that he has, basically, of everything Donald Trump did that they are alleging, and his list of actions surrounding everything on January 6th, and the judge could have to rule action by action as to whether or not those were considered official presidential duties or the acts of a private citizen. But Jack Smith could, in theory, lay out his entire case, and all that evidence would be made public to the American people. But I don't think they're going to give him immunity. I just want to know what the hell the holdup is, because the filing was made at the end of last year for this appeal. Jack Smith asked for him to expedite it. They said no. They held oral arguments in April, and now we're still waiting for something that should be an obvious, easy decision. But they're dragging their feet trying to delay it for Donald Trump. And the next time we get more releases from the Supreme Court will be on the 20th. I think we get that one and maybe one more this term, so it should be coming quickly. But still, this should have been a pretty easy decision on their part, and they are doing everything they can to drag their feet and drag this out for Donald Trump, to give him as big of a delay as he can to make sure the D.C. case does not go before a jury prior to the election.